Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the ICISA Surety Week. This is already the fourth session. We had some sessions yesterday, we had some this morning, and we were extremely happy with the number of attendees. And I personally thought this one would be one very much for insiders, maybe not as much interest as we had in the previous sessions. And lo and behold, we have over 150 of you tuning in, and you won't be disappointed, I promise you. As with all other sessions, this one will be available for later viewing. And also, just like the other sessions, please, if you have questions to the presenters, please put them on the chat, and we will see to it that at the end of the applicable presentation, they will be asked, and the presenter will get the chance to answer those questions. Now, in this session, we'll be hearing from two top surety professionals. The first one is Marlene Hertel. Marlene is head of Surety International at AXA Switzerland with a long distinguished career. And despite her youthful looks, as I'm sure you will agree with me, she's been working with AXA Switzerland and its predecessors for a long period. That doesn't mean that much by itself, but my first and big boss told me the difference between a professional and a top professional is the number of economic waves that they have seen. And Marlene has seen a few. Marlene also leads the Surety Committee of ICISA. And this is a very vibrant community of surety professionals, which has given rise to a number of products, amongst others, the Surety Glossary of Terms Working Group, which is now known as the Suretypedia. And the Suretypedia is being represented by Magdalena Cano, which we will hear from after. But first, it's Marlene, and Marlene, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Richard. I'm sharing my screen. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Marlene Hertel, working for AXA Insurance in Switzerland for a long time, more than 30 years, as Richard told us before. In my role of Surety Committee Chair, I'm pleased to present you the status of the surety industry and the future expectation resulting from a survey sent to our delegates. This for the first part of the session, and in the second part, we will focus on the exciting project we are working on in the Surety Committee, the Suretypedia. Magdalena Cano will deep dive in this very interesting topic. So, how surety companies belonging to ICISA are feeling the surety market today? 42 experts from different regions, but mainly coming from Europe, have given their opinion. If you are looking in the result of the survey, premium and exposure both are increasing, which is a sign for stability. The market is still soft, but stable, and is expected to remain soft. There is no sign for hardening for the time being. And I guess as we were not so affected during the pandemic, there will not be some hardening in the market during the next few years. The good news is that generally the claims remain low. We need to consider that surety portfolios are dominated by construction, and construction was not so affected. And if it was affected, this was more due to delay in the project. But here, contractor and project owners found arrangement, pursuing the same goal, naturally, the achievement of the project. This has an positive influence on the claims picture naturally. Yeah? We are expecting, but that insolvency will increase naturally after the end of the protecting governmental measures. When the overall observation corresponds to the result, to the status in Europe and also in Asia, we have some difference in other regions. For example, in Africa, where premium and exposure are decreasing in a hard market. It is not so surprising because Africa faced a crisis in the construction especially, and the capacity of insurance company remain lower, so that the market has been harder during the last few years. In the Middle East and North Africa, the already soft market is expected to become even softer. In North America, the biggest market, very profitable, still very profitable, insolvency should remain stable and claims are decreasing. And in Latin America, not really surprising, as the different countries are very prized by the surety companies due to their size and profitability. Premiums are decreasing, exposure are increasing. This reflects a continuously softening of the market. Let us move now to the technical aspect of the survey. The inflation and supply chain interruption continue to influence our daily business. But what is the impact? It creates a kind of uncertainty for the underwriters. These underwriters must reinforce the risk assessment, focus on liquidity. A deterioration of the financial is expected. And especially in construction, surety companies are very careful with underwriting of bond related to private projects, as the indexation of the contract is not always possible. This makes the life of the underwriter quite challenging. It leads to be more restrictive in the selection or to reduce limit, and unfortunately with consequences on the relationship with our customer. But it generates also new business opportunities, as companies need to preserve now their liquidities. Which type of business? Kind of payment guarantee, for example, in order to negotiate better payment terms with suppliers, or bond to be issued to release a bank cash deposit. It is not really the business we expect for a long time to get market share from the banks. And such type of surety deviates of the usual and classical surety we are doing normally, business which is related to a contractual or legal obligation. It goes more in the direction of financing. But maybe it is a business model to be considered from our industry in the future. The end of the governmental support. It is a feared moment for all economic players. Surety companies generally expect to have more claims. It will be interesting to know if these expectations are more on a frequency than on a severity side. It is almost what I'm expecting, more on the frequency side. And it is also, according to our discussion during the last surety committee, we are rating more claims, but not really severity driven. A smaller company already financially affected before the crisis were protected during a certain time, but now they will need to be able to survive themselves. And this could lead to more claims in our portfolios. But larger companies that were strong before the crisis either did not use support or ask it more as a prevention. We observe in different markets that clients have benefited from financial support and didn't need it finally. Or companies have taken a state-supported loan because it was cheaper than other financing. But finally, the crisis was longer as expected, and state protection remained in place accordingly. Surety companies had time to adapt their underwriting processes and approach their customer with the adequate question. They will also follow this customer, focus on the liquidity, repayment of state-guaranteed loan during the next few years, and maybe it also has also created more relationship, much more closer relationship between surety company and client in order to continue to serve these clients, even if we are in a period of uncertainty. But it would be wrong not to worry about the moment of the end of the governmental support. But generally, I think surety companies are well prepared to affront it. The force majeure or the force majeure topic or force majeure word were one of the first challenge we had at the beginning of the pandemic. The invocation and interpretation of force majeure at the beginning of the pandemic raised many questions in terms of scope of validity, time limit, period of validity, etc. Among others, this led the International Chamber of Commerce to clarify and recommend clauses related to the force majeure to be introduced in the contract. Naturally, this complicates the underwriting of contract bond, considering that the clause could be also adapted to specific situations and have an influence on the contract performance, so that underwriter must maybe more and more ask for underlying contract for the assessment of specific bonds. But most of the delegates answering to the survey declared that force majeure had no impact on the business. The reason why, from my point of view, is that finally government support helped more than the invocation of the force majeure. But this topic will still occupy ICISA delegates, so that an exchange session within the surety committee will be organized soon. So let us move to another part or another new challenge coming for our industry, the surety and sustainability. For people attended this morning, you have been convinced that sustainability is an important topic for the economy, for insurance and for ICISA. Now let us have some indication about sustainability and the surety industry. 21 delegates of the surety committee have taken position to the sustainability questions. The most of the company do have investment strategy or policy related to sustainability. We are feeling that naturally as an underwriter or a surety provider because of the policy, because of the governance related to sustainability, so that we need to consider in the underwriting process the exclusion of some companies belonging to specific sector of activity. Just 50% of the asked companies are following sustainable development goals. And 30% does currently have a concept to market a surety product, green or sustainable. But maybe we should re-ask this question in 2 years, as surety is at the beginning of thinking about contribution to the sustainability. Contribution to the sustainability with surety remain an abstract topic for the time being. Till now, we just focused on our governance policies related to sustainability, on our internal governance policy, and much more on exclusion. But we must say also that during the last 2 years, we faced the uncertainty of the pandemic, and we were also focused on keeping our business profitable according to the pandemic challenge. The pressures in terms of sustainability comes more from the society and regulators or internal stakeholders than from customers or reinsurance, according to the result of the survey. And finally, today, sustainability is well relevant for most of the company. But sustainability is important for internal process, but more also for external for the time being. So what is the contribution of surety in terms of sustainability today? Naturally, in the risk selection, following our governance policies, excluding the issuance of surety for specific sector of activity or not issue bond for projects suspected of damaging the climate or the nature, for example. Insurance company could also propose advantageous terms or conditions for selected company having reached a good sustainability score, or for project linked to green energy, for example, but not making any compromise in the underwriting. In marketing the sustainability, we could also have some contribution. We see surety companies planting a tree for each bond issued, for example. But naturally, we could do more. How extend this contribution? After the session of this morning dedicated to sustainability, we are all convinced that we could do more and that the next challenges are coming. How can we make our industry sustainable? This is not an easy question. It seems very abstract, but thinking that could transfer challenges into business opportunity is naturally very motivating. So let us summarize the survey results in few words. Our industry was resistant and stable during the pandemic. We are all aware of coming challenges and prepared for them, and sustainability becomes the next priority. But to conclude, and according to this observation, we are in a challenging environment this year, but we are feeling confident with the development. It is my point of view according to the discussion we had during the last surety committees and the result of the survey we have sent to our delegates. So, do you have any question, Richard? Do you have seen any question on the chat?
We have some questions that came in, Marlene, and the first one is more a request than the question. I'll read this to you. Suretypedia is really needed. It is a great idea, but also I hope that in future a document like International Standard Surety Practice would be prepared. Is that something you're contemplating in the Surety Committee?
It's a very good idea, sure. So it was not on the agenda, but it's something we could really consider, and especially linked to sustainability developments and the challenges which are coming to us because of the development, and now because we need to do something for sustainability. I'm sure we could. It will be a great idea. Yes.
Yeah, and I would like to point to a publication that ICISA made possible together with the International Chamber of Commerce called the ICC International Rules of Contract Bonding. Now, we're having discussions with the ICC to reprint that, and that could at least be a part of it. Would that be interesting to the committee?
Yes, yes, sure.
Cool. Another one, sustainability. Um, is that on the agenda for the next surety committee?
Not really. Yes or no, because we also had some discussion concerning sustainability. But more linked to the underwriting. During the last meeting, we had during the tour de table, we asked to the member what they are doing in terms of sustainability, and the response was the same for all the company. We are following the governance policies which are excluding some sectors of activity. What we also did during the last meeting, we had a workshop on energy, on bond linked to energy, in order to identify in which country we could provide surety in this sector, and naturally focus on the green energy. But really focused on the sustainability challenges we could have after the pandemic. We didn't treat this topic in the surety committee, but it will be sure a topic for the next meeting in Helsinki.
Thank you so much. And going on with sustainability, there is a question which is burning in the minds of people outside Europe, and that is the importance of sustainability also important outside of Europe? And if yes, is it in the same way?
So naturally, the people answering to the survey came mainly from Europe. But according to the discussion we had during the last surety committee, I think sustainability is a topic which is a burning topic all over the world and not just in Europe.
Very clear. Do you think it should be tackled in the same way?
Sorry?
Do you think it should be tackled in the same way within the OECD area as outside it?
I think we should tackle it also outside of the OECD area. Sure.
Okay.
Because also outside of Europe, there is a lot of environmental area which need to be protected.
And I think this might be a topic in the Surety Committee in the coming years as well. This is not something that we will solve in a couple of months, right?
No.
I have a question here from an industry practitioner with a stake in the game, and it is asked, do you find it concerning that surety experts expect the premiums in LATAM to decrease while the exposures are simultaneously increasing?
Sure. I'm a little worried about that because normally in a stable market, in a good environment, your exposure should increase in line with the premium. And you are doing your market. You are I think it is you are. Oh, sorry, I don't find you are breaking your market if at the end, but because where will be the end of this decreasing of the premium? Huh? Because there is more and more competitors in this market, and this new competitor needs to get some market share. And how can they get the market share with low premium? Because in our industry, it is not possible to model the condition, because a bond is a bond and the cover is given. So you can just get new market share with the pricing. And in such environment where the competition is so high and all the competitors are prepared to offer lower premium than the other one, it is not an healthy environment. And I really would like that the direction will change in these countries.
That is very clear. Thank you. A question from a distribution partner. Are there conversations being coordinated with the top rating agencies to provide more rating rate to projects assets that are guaranteed by a surety bond? Currently, there is some inconsistency on how they look at it. This would be key to unlock more green financing. Unlock, sorry. Are you aware of these conversations with S&P's, Moody's, Fitch, and AM Best?
No, no, no. But I would be very interesting to learn more about that. And if I could get more insight about this conversation, I will be very grateful.
And if the person who asked that question wants to know more about this, please contact secretariat@icisa.org, and we will connect you with the applicable persons. Let's do one more question. In emerging economies like India, where meeting developmental goals have to be met, but surety is equally important. How can the integration of green financing, sustainability, and development happen? Can surety companies still support the requirements? So basically, what I understand from this question is that sureties in emerging markets are basically being torn in three for three very separate goals within their economies. To which extent, Marlene, do you think a surety company should be left with three possibly opposing goals that they should meet?
So it's a good question because markets like India are very, very new. We don't have a lot of experience in this market. I hope we will learn more about that during the session about the emerging market. I'm really looking forward to have this session because it is very difficult to express an opinion about these countries.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Thursday morning, we will hold a session on emerging markets with a special spotlight on India. And I would urge everyone who is interested in this to tune in. Or if it's outside of their or inside of their sleeping times, let's put it like that, they can tune in later on the recorded session.
I hope we will also have some delegates in our surety committee coming from India. It will help us also to know better this market.
Absolutely. And with that, I wonder if, first of all, I can thank you, Marlene, for a very interesting presentation, expertly given, and shown how experts in this industry see the future near and far. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. Thank you to the attendees.
And moving on to the next, I said two top professionals. Marlene is undoubtedly the first one. The second top professional here in this panel today is Magdalena Cano. Magdalena is Senior Underwriter and Head of Specialty Lines at EHRE. She's already also seen a lot of ups and downs in the market and knows how important definitions and taxonomies are. And that's why she represents a group of, let's call them surety evangelists, coming from our association with insurance and with reinsurance members. And their goal is to make our industry a lot more accessible. The variable jargon gives rise to a number of misunderstandings. And if it's up to Magdalena and her colleagues, these misunderstandings will be a thing of the past. She will be using screenshots from the new ICISA website, which will be up at the beginning of next month. And you'll be able to see the Suretypedia in its full glory then. Right, Magdalena, take it away.
Very good. Do you hear me?
I hear you fine.
Perfect, great. You know, I have some problems with the technologies, but yeah, that's amazing. Thank you very much, ICISA and Richard and your team for inviting us. I'm talking about on behalf of the working group Suretypedia, and it's of course it's a pleasure and an honor to be here in this first Surety Week, which I can already tell you, congratulations, it's been a success. Yes, I have a message to give you, and I'm overwhelmed because I've seen on my screen 259 participants, and so I think that's really there is a high interest for our line of business, and I confirm this. Our line of business, our industry is promising, and we have a future. I also support the ideas of all our speakers and Madeleine. Well, we are facing challenges. I also could see the need for having a standards, international practice. What are we going to do with the new challenges with sustainability, with ESG, with all kind of new risks which touch the financial guarantees field, things like that. And of course, our contribution is, I think, is a modest but a promising contribution to this development. And so for this, I have half an hour, and then I will I don't know, some of you probably have already had the opportunity to read the article we wrote in the last ICISA Insider. This is the magazine ICISA is regularly publishing, and there we already indicated our mission, our ideas, and our vision of what we wanted to achieve as a working team. Today, it's a reality, and that's really a great news. We have been working the 2 last years in a small committee. We are a group of experts, and we have done good progress, and that's why I'm going to tell you about a little bit more about it. Yes, this contribution fits also in the spirit of this week, which is building up knowledge, exchanging with each other, and making our knowledge accessible to all of us. I mean, we have today the technical platforms and the technical capabilities to do so. So let's capitalize on that. As I mentioned as we mentioned in our article in October, we have a mission to fulfill, and this mission I would then like to put it in 5 pillars or 5 main fields. The first mission is to contribute to a common language. And, you know, I mean, we are all experts, many years working in this field. And sometimes I have the feeling we do speak about the same thing, but we use different words. Just an example, we are working now on a very specific type of bonds, and we are working on this. And we talk about gaming or gambling bonds. Yeah, that's a discussion we are having in our working team. So let's unify the language we are using, and perhaps with our Suretypedia, we will then contribute with this. A second pillar is to centralize and capitalize on our global knowledge in the market and expertise. And for this, I can tell you that all the members that we are forming part of this expert group, Christian, Doris, Guadalupe, Heike, Isidra, Roland, and myself, we count for more than 100 years of experience in these markets, in the surety market. So this means, we have something to provide. And not only us, but we also ask some experts to share with us their knowledge. So Suretypedia will allow us just to capitalize on this asset, the market asset. We would also like to contribute to reduce the complexity of the terms. How are we going to do this? Well, we have developed a very powerful tool. It's a sort of a structured template where I will show it to you later, where we really try to focus on the main features of the bonding, of the bonds types. And this makes our discussions easier, because even if we have a wording in French, in German, in English, in Spanish, in whichever language, sometimes it's difficult to capture also the spirit of the law, of the local law. And sometimes using this template would allow us to focus on the main features of our products and try to understand how these products are working. I think these days, with this complexity we are facing, these type of tools are very helpful. And I can also explain you, if we have some time, I can explain you, or I can give you some examples. There is also a fourth mission, which is just to help new generations in their professional paths. I mean, as Richard said, I mean, we are almost the same age. We are many years here, and we see how new generations are coming. And these people are, you know, just fresh. They want to learn. And yeah, I think we can combine both generations, the experience of the past, but also the future developments, which they are going to lead. And last but not least, we want to provide a reliable source of information. And this means our products are so specific that sometimes if we go into Google and now we just give in the name of this bond that we are having on our table, then we will find the most different results, which are nothing to do with, do not have anything to do with our products. So with this, this is a big mission, but we take it very, very seriously. And yeah, now I would like them to go to the next step. What do we have today? What is what we can provide you, or what can we present to you today after these 2 years of work? Well, first of all, we have the full support of ICISA, and I thank you very much for this. We all thank you. It's very nice that we have been invited in the first Surety Week, and also that we always have a time slot in our Surety committees or in any occasion just to discuss our concerns or our topics. This is, we also have, and that was great experience after the Sevilla meeting, we also have the full support of our Surety subcommittee. Thank you to Marlene also to dedicate our time, but also thank you to all the members of the subcommittee. It was great in Sevilla. How could we exchange? How could we work together? And at the end of the committee or subcommittee, we all really had the feeling that Suretypedia is not only the project of the working team, it's the project of at least the Surety subcommittee. And last but not least, thank you to all members of the working team, for your commitment. It has been great working all together. And I think I hope we can continue working. So full support, and we might also get some additional supports. I mean, I cannot talk about other associations like PASA or the American Surety Association, but I think we should also work together. And we have natural links. And I think this could be the next step. So secondly, apart from the support, we already have a set of rules, how to work within the working team. This is also helping us to be more efficient, not to discuss how do we do this or not. So now we have written rules how to proceed, where we define, for example, 3 types of items we want to handle. One is a definition. We can work on definitions. For example, I will show you later on a definition about the zero loss underwriting. We also would like to work, the second type of item we would like to tackle in a systematic way is the definition of type of bond. So with a scheme, just the main features of every type of bond. And a third type of information we would provide you would be the comparison between different types of bonds. So this will be more a sort of analysis, no? So these 3 types of items you will find in our Suretypedia. In order also to make our work more systematic and more, easy to handle, we have also defined different status from the different definitions. Where do we stay? For example, are we in the project status, or are we in the in progress status, or we are in the delivered status, or the final status? Once we are in the final status, we can post already the definitions or the information item into our Suretypedia. We also have defined an owner, the owner for each definition. And sometimes this is, until now, it has been naturally because one of us have provided or suggested to work on a certain type of bonds or definitions, or because this person brought the experience or already worked on that. So we have an owner, and this owner will be in charge of bringing the definition and up to the end. And we also have some indications about administrations and the functions. So set of rules how to work. And last but not least, we have the digital platform. And ICISA, as Richard mentioned it, is about to bring to life, to come to life with a space for Suretypedia within the ICISA website. This will be ready in the month of March, so just a couple of weeks to go. And yes, so now the baby is born. We have a baby and we have a name for the baby. It's called Suretypedia. And yes, I would like to show you some pictures from this baby. And for this, I kindly ask exactly Raluca to show exactly some of the pictures. We go through them all together. Yes, this metaphor of the baby, I just thought is just perfect for this situation. Yes, so let's look at the first picture. Yeah, so this is the scheme, the structure in which we work normally. This is what we usually use as a basis for our discussions. And I can tell you, in my experience, in my daily work, I also use this simple raster, simple template for internal discussions. And I can tell you, it's highly effective, highly effective. I can tell you many stories, but I already yesterday had got a discussion, internal discussion about a new type of guarantee. And I asked my underwriter to fill in this template. The template came, and at the same time, I got the French wording, and I realized there was a mismatch between the template and the wording. So where the role of beneficiary and principal were just not matching. And then I asked my underwriter to explain. And she told me, the broker did fill in the template, and obviously it was wrong. And then I told her, okay, now we know it's wrong. You go back to the broker and let him explain it. And yeah, it could be that the broker was tired, but it could be also that the broker didn't understand it, or any other reason. But at least talking, I mean, if you just have a wording of a bonding in a different language, it must be very difficult to understand each other. Just working with this template has been very powerful, and we just needed 10 minutes to discuss. So yeah, I encourage you perhaps to try it. But this is our main tool when we have our internal discussions in our working group. And yes, the next picture of our baby, please, Raluca. Yes. So the Suretypedia will be posted into the ICISA website. It's not yet done, but this is preliminary, so you can see some pictures of what it's going to be. So you will be able to get into the website, and under industries, you will get the, the first screenshot. And on the upper right hand, you see the search function. So if we will, for example, we will show you, we will look for, as if you go, Raluca, to the next step. Yeah. Yes. So you see these terms are in alphabetical order. So we will be then able to find, hopefully, our concepts or types of bonds, just clicking into the appropriate letter. But we move on. Yes, and I will then show you, I told you there are 3 types of information items we want to work on. One is the type of bond using this template I already showed you. And I just, in honor to the ICISA and to the country where ICISA is placed in Holland, so I took this very specific type of product, which is only in Holland, is a Dutch product, the WGA. So if you go to the search function and then click on WGA, you will have the definition. And let's go and see what happens when we get, yes, exactly. So you have here, you see the name of this guarantee is absolutely unbelievably difficult. So Werkhervatting Gederte Arbeidsgeschikt or something like that. So it's only for Dutch people possible to just to mention it. But WGA is a very interesting product in Holland, where some selected companies can afford to have just for disability insurance when they do not pay premiums for disability risk for their employees, but they take this risk on their own behalf, on their own account. And for this, they need to present a bond in front of the tax authorities. So yeah, that's a very good example. So, and if you just remark the template I showed you before, you will see here the definition, the background, the principal, the beneficiary, the bond amount. Sometimes it's in a percentage of a main obligation of a contract or whatever. And we have the tenor and all the main features I already told you. So you will always find these type of these definitions in this order. So this will help you to understand, the different types of bonds. If we move on, then as I told you, we have also definitions, and this is also one example how we can get a definition. We will not follow then the template I told you, how I showed you before, but we just have definitions. And this one, I must tell you, that's one of the most important principles in our underwriting, which old generations, like new generations, like future generations, should not forget. Of course, we all run at the end of the day a little bit of risk. However, if we respect these principles, especially this zero loss underwriting principle, then this is like a guide just to, that is, it's behind our underwriting and our underwriting decisions. That's why we do have indemnity agreements. That's why we also count with the regress right of the bonding product. And we also have additional collaterals. We also underwrite the capabilities of the principal to fulfill the obligations. All these underwriting procedures are following this maxima, zero loss underwriting. Apart from other considerations, as we have seen, the ESG or other social or compliance considerations, which we also need to integrate into daily underwriting. Good. Then, yes, then we move on. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So that's our baby. The baby is going to be born in 2 or 3 weeks. And the baby, I mean, normally babies, I mean, I'm using this metaphor, I like it. The baby normally, when they are small, they are born, they just have 2, 3 kilos, 4 kilos, if you're lucky. So this Suretipedia today, we have an inventory of 23 items, from which 18 are final. So at least in the next 3 weeks, you will have between 18 and 23 items in our baby Suretipedia. Next steps. Well, like with babies, we need to feed the baby, we need to make it grow, and we need to take care of it. So for this, at least ICISA, the subcommittee, the surety subcommittee, and the working team, we are all ready. So, but of course, we cannot do it without, the help of the whole industry, or at least all ICISA members. And for this, we will also, I mean, I was not showing to you, but we also plan to have a functionality within the Suretipedia so that you can always contact ICISA with all your queries. So if you once face the type of product that you don't know, and you would like to know more about it, you can contact ICISA, and then we will then go through the system, through the process. Yes, so we have created a system. It does not matter whether we people, the people that are working, we are here or not. This system will work anyway in the future. And this depends on all of us, as I always told you. And yeah, now if you have some questions. Yes, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy. I hope you use it. I hope it helps you. What I can tell you is that we have learned a lot also in this process since we started. Thank you, all of you.
And thank you, Magdalena. And apparently you hit a note, because we've got a lot of questions, but also a lot of comments and a lot of requests in the chat. And I will put a couple to you. Firstly, very helpful from the side of PASA. My offer to liaise with the PASA Surety Committee is still valid. Considerable work has been done on the surety terminology by both associations. So yes, you are walking into open arms of Marco Schiattone. Now, a couple of questions, or requests rather. Also, these surety bond type terms should be in parallel with the types used in the banking sector. because we work with them. Are there plans to expand in that direction?
Yes, I mean, I'm very happy that you asked me this question, because I want also to bring the next concept I want to bring to the group is the MRPA. And MRPA, that's the standard contracts that are signed between banks. But now we also sign it between banks and insurance companies and surety companies. So, I mean, yes, indeed, we need to create a common language. And now we are working more with banks. We are having more access to the banking sector and to their products. And I think we are now in the position, yes, to do this. But for this, we need the help of course, everybody. But we are ready. Yes, I will take this notice, and then, yes, we will bring it to the team. Yeah.
Good stuff. Then there's a question from Robert, who is asking, is this effort relating to www.suretypedia.com in the US?
Sorry, that whether we want to extend this to the US?
No, whether the effort is related. And I'm not sure if you looked at the website yet. It is very, very purely American. So I can imagine that you're saying we might be a little bit more international than that.
Yes, I mean, yes, any suggestions? And I mean, we are a big group of experts, including, I mean, also our organizations are international. I mean, you also listen to Sean on Monday. We have access to all the markets. We have access to all our experts. We just have to capitalize on that. And for this, I think we are a very good team. I mean, and we are all willing to learn. So we are anxious to have this, because we really need it. And especially it must be reliable. It's not only just posting something into the web and, or, you know, exchanging between friends. No, we want to have something really official. We also work with the International Chamber of Commerce. So we need to capitalize on that. Yes, indeed.
Then here's a really good question. And that question goes back to something that you've discussed in the working group, that different terms mean, or the same terms mean very different things in many jurisdictions. The question is, could you please also clarify what deductible guarantee is? And with an add-on question, isn't it a type of financial guarantee?
Yes, that will be a very interesting. I also take notice of this. It's not on our inventory, but it will be deductible. Yeah, bond or with yes. I mean, I cannot tell you this. I mean, we need to analyze the whole thing. That's the beauty of these things. I mean, we cannot just say yes or no. Let's look at it. We look at the main features, we look at different markets, and then we will come back with, but I also write it down. Yes, could be that it's a sort of financial kind of product, huh?
Now, keeping the time in mind, I'd like to end with the question that you are going to like most, Magdalena. You've already answered it, but I would really like you to repeat that. Olga asks, how can we contribute to Suretypedia?
Well, that's great. That's great. Yes, we will create a functionality in the website at ICISA where you can contact ICISA members, and we have defined a process. So you can contact ICISA. ICISA will then direct this query to the working group, and then we will work from there. How do we work? I mean, I didn't tell you, but I mean, we have access to many experts, not only the working group. You can imagine, I mean, we cannot work, you know, this small amount of people just creating a Suretypedia. It's not possible, but we have access to our organizations. We have access to our expert underwriters. We can also have friends, colleagues, and then we can also get additional information from different countries on a specific. So we have the means. We can have access to this information, and we have the process. We have everything, the rules, the people, the market there where they have the knowledge, and the platform. So yeah, you will have the opportunity to contact ICISA, or if you are a friend of one of us, then you can call us. It's just that's also the direct yeah, and then make some suggestions. I mean, because I have seen in the list of entrances many of old colleagues and friends. So yeah.
Magdalena, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time and all the effort for showing your baby to the world.
Yes, our baby. Huh? Thank you very much.
We hope to show the baby very, very soon. In the meantime, the ICISA Surety Week 2022 goes on, and I would like to extend a hearty invitation for the sessions of tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we will be having a session of bonds versus guarantees. And I think for the first time in ICISA, we are opening the doors to a banker in our midst. So be sure to watch that one. It's going to be an interesting session. Tomorrow afternoon at this time, and I'm talking CET, is very much a crossover over the North Atlantic. It's called the Ontario Model Session, what we can learn from the surety system that was implemented in Canada, and whether in other parts of the world, this is something we can learn from. So in the meantime, I wish you a number of hours of rest and work, and I hope to see all of you back tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.